Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a two-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Holland can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back to Gratian Gymnasium this afternoon. It's the back end of the weekend doubleheader, and it's the final match of a three-match weekend for Valley City State that started back on Wednesday. Not so much technically a weekend, but three matches in the course of a week. And the Vikings today will finish it off 1-1 on the week, looking to grab a second victory, trying to knock off a team receiving national recognition and get back to what was a really, really good run through 10 consecutive sets won for Valley City State before the University of Providence put that to an end last night. It'll be an equally tall challenge today as they take on Montana State, Northern, and the Skylights. We welcome you to Gratian Gym here on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and newsdakota.com. Ryan Cunningham back with you for another afternoon of Viking volleyball. Last night, the Vikings came out with a very strong start to the matchup. Ended up winning the first set 25-21 against a team that's ranked second nationally in the Argos of the University of Providence. And things looked like they were headed in a pretty strong direction. And then the Argos showed up with a wall at the net, a block that just would not allow the Vikings to run their offense the way they wanted to. And the Argos came back with a dominant 21-9 lead in the second set, a set they eventually won 25-15. The third and fourth just saw the Argos chip away and pull away a little bit here and a little bit there before they ended up with identical 25-17 wins in both the second and third sets, rather third and fourth sets last night. And the Vikings were beaten by a 3-1 margin. It put to an end 10 consecutive sets won as the Vikings had swept in Montana over Montana Tech and Montana Western the previous weekend, and on Wednesday night earned a sweep over Mayville State University and picked up, of course, the first set against the University of Providence last night. Now here comes Montana State University Northern, and the Skylights are a team that's receiving national recognition out there, and one of those teams the Vikings are looking to pick up a big win over that they're chasing right now in the Frontier Conference standings. We'll talk more about our conference standings coming up in just a little bit on our pregame report brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City. Here for all and here for good. But the long and short of it is that the Vikings have some matches against teams that they're chasing in the standings coming up at home, various places. This is one of those. Carroll College will be another. Dakota State, Bellevue. These are matches where the Vikings can gain ground on the teams that they're chasing right now on the Frontier. But they're going to have to get these done because now we kind of move our way into crunch time, where if the Vikings don't pick up wins against teams that they are in fact having to chase on the scoreboard, or at least in the standings, you could end up in some trouble. They're in the back half of the conference standings right now. They're trying to find their way back up into that top echelon to try to improve their position for the postseason tournament coming up a little bit later on this year. And hanging in the midst is also the idea of national recognition. If you have national recognition, you have an opportunity to find your way into the national tournament as an at-large if you don't end up winning a very difficult Frontier Conference tournament. So with that national recognition comes some benefits. Now, the Vikings may have lost to the Argos last night, but the fact of the matter is they put together 10 solid sets in a row and took one from the Argos. And if they could come back with a win today in this matchup over Montana State University Northern, you might have the opportunity to put yourself back into that national conversation and give yourself a chance at earning that at-large bid into the national tournament. So this one becomes pivotal today for a couple of reasons. Now, for those of you that are Viking fans, this is also a big day of double dips on the radio side of things today on KOVC. We will have coverage of the Viking football team at Madison, South Dakota to take on Dakota State University and the Trojans. That one goes on from Madison. Jerry Edwards will have the call on that. And that one will get started at around 4 o'clock coming up this afternoon. So you can look for that on the radio side. And if this one were to drift into that one, we'll try to keep you up to date with what's happening down there. But today, a pivotal day for the Viking volleyball season, and they probably know it. Montana State University Northern, one of those teams they're chasing. You need a big win. You need a win to try to reset the expectations in the second half of the conference season, and we'll see if the Vikings can rise to that occasion coming up today as they take on the Skylights here at Gratian Gymnasium. We're glad you joined us for this one today. Our pregame report brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City will continue in just a couple of moments, and as it continues, we'll take you through the conference standings. We'll also take you through the Vikings to watch after last night's result. There were some great individual results last night in the matchup with the University of Providence. So we'll show you through what that looks like as well here today and show you the players to watch in this one. And our starting lineups in volleyball, well, we're going to be set for that coming up here at about 2 o'clock today is the start time for the first serve. And we've been getting underway usually a little bit later than that, so we'll probably see a first serve coming up today at about 2:05 or so, but it should be a fun time for us today. We're looking forward to seeing this one play out, and we should have a very competitive matchup for today. Montana State University Northern, the Skylights, the Vikings of Valley City State University. We've got it for you coming up here in a couple of moments, so do stay with us. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and also on newsdakota.com.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. Let us help you become our next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right.
All this week at Lever's Foods, all of your fall favorites are on sale. Cremette pasta, 97 cents each. Progresso soups, $1.59 each. Jack's pizzas, 3 for $9.99. Lever's fresh yellow onions, 3-pound bag, $1.79 each. And 85% lean ground beef, only $5.49 a pound. Delivery is available by calling 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Welcome back to our coverage of Viking volleyball this afternoon from the Gratian Gymnasium that we have for you today. Our coverage of Viking volleyball continues here on newsdakota.com and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Ryan Cunningham with you here today as we get set for Montana State Northern. Got some starting lineups coming in here for us, folks, so we'll go ahead and take care of those here in just a couple of moments. All right, got the starting lineups in here from Valley City State. As we continue our pregame report brought to you here today, starting lineups just delivered to us hot off the presses, in fact, so we have the opportunity to get those. I don't know if we're under normal circumstances, I think they turn them in a little bit later, but they got them into us nice and early today, and that's perfect. Have the opportunity to tell you the accurate starting lineup that we'll have for you coming up here when we get to do our pregame report today. Pregame report brought to you today by Sanford Health, Valley City, here for all and here for good. Montana State Northern rolling into this one. Starting the weekend 11-9 overall. Believe they got the win last night over Mayville State. Now 12-9 and 10-5 inside the conference. While we're talking about the conference, let's go ahead and take a look at the conference standings that we have for you. And these are updated as of our results last night. So those of you that have an opportunity to take a look on your screen, you'll see exactly what the Vikings were up against last night. The top two in this league have done a great job of separating themselves. The University of Providence, number 2 in the nation, 15-0 after their win last night at Valley City, 22-1 in their overall campaign. Bellevue University is now 13-2 in the conference at 17-3 overall. And then after that, even though we've got 6 teams that are receiving national recognition, there's a pretty good logjam, and you can see what that looks like, a 3-match separation that takes you all the way down between number 3 in the conference and number 9 in the conference at this point. Now, 3 matches, though, it doesn't seem like a lot, but in the end, it could turn out to be quite a bit, depending upon what we've got left as far as the schedule, and there's not a whole lot of it left to go. So that's why we say today is a pivotal moment for Valley City State and their season. Having dropped the matchup last night with the University of Providence, when you start taking a look at the opportunities that you have against teams that you're chasing on the schedule. Right now, Bismarck State College, Rocky Mountain, you're not chasing them. You're not chasing Mayville, and you're done with them. You're done with Montana Western as well. You played them twice. Dickinson State, you're tied with right now. That'll be a big matchup out in Dickinson coming up later on. The Vikings have had Dickinson State at home, and you're done with Montana Tech. So when you take a look at those 4 teams below the University of Providence, the Vikings get those 4 teams at home coming up this season. Bellevue, Montana State Northern today, Dakota State, and Carroll. Those are teams that are all coming up. Carroll is coming up next week. The Vikings will take on Carroll at home coming up next weekend. They'll have a late weekend with Bellevue University and Dakota State University. And as this thing shapes up, those are the key matches that the Vikings are going to have to try to find their way into that national conversation. If you're going to get into it, really today is very important. The team that's 12-8 overall, 10-5 though inside the league, very good, and they've got tremendous weaponry at the net, and that's why Montana State Northern has been so good this year. What they may lack just a little bit is overall depth. They've got a rather small roster, but they're using that roster to its maximum output, and we'll talk more about that with the numbers coming up here in just a little bit. But you can see there, Montana State Northern 10-5, Dakota State's 9-5. They didn't play last night. Carroll College is 8-6, Montana Tech is 8-7. Then the Vikings, Dickinson State, Montana State Western, all 7-8 at this point, and records that are all sort of hovering around that 500 level. Mayville State now 3-12, Bismarck State College 2-13 in the league, and Rocky Mountain is 0-15. But this one's really important today when you start to gauge in how the end of the season looks. You know you've got to win a conference tournament to get in. There should be a couple of bids automatically from the Frontier, but the Vikings are going to have a tremendous postseason run to get one of those two. So then what's left? Well, it's the at-large bid to get into the field of 48. To do that, you've got to be on the National Register of Conversation Pieces, and that means today, Montana State Northern, what are those 4 remaining matches that you have at home against teams that you're chasing? You have got to come up with something pretty big here today. That's where the standings become very pivotal. So, yeah, at some point, you hate to make one match anything more than it actually is. That's fair. But at some point, these are the types of matches that you play that can determine what your season looks like at the end of the season. And it really does look like this is going to be one of those that could shape what it looks like going forward. That's a look at our Frontier Conference standings as we get started today. We'll come back, take a look at some of the players to watch in this one as we continue with our pregame report brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City. Here for all and here for good. We'll take a look through the Vikings to watch and also rattle off a couple of names from Montana State Northern we'll be saying a lot of here in this matchup today. It's the Vikings, Montana State Northern, the Skylights here at Gratian Gym. Our coverage of Viking volleyball continues next.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, You can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. To get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
Hi, this is Clint from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy in beautiful downtown Valley City, your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Welcome back to our coverage of Viking volleyball today. Here on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, NewsDakota.com, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Ryan Cunningham with you here today. Glad to be with you as we push our way into match number 3 of the week. The Vikings started things off with a 3-0 win over Mayville State back on Wednesday night. Then here today, or actually yesterday, they were beaten by the University of Providence by a score of 3-1. Now they take on Montana State University Northern, a team receiving votes in the latest poll nationally, trying to bring themselves to a 2-1 record for the week and the weekend, and again put themselves back in the national conversation. Could be a big one today for Valley City State. Let's take a look at some of the Vikings that we have to watch in this matchup for today and give you a rundown of how things went last night for Valley City State individually. It's the big 3 that we have on our Vikings to watch today, and there's very good reasons for it. These are the 3 players that at the net are going to really make things happen down the stretch for the Vikings. Macy Fridgen, 18 kills and a pair of blocks yesterday against Providence. She was amazing, and of course, we mentioned that wall came up for Providence in the second set and kind of continued throughout. She had plenty of really good swings that just unfortunately found a team that is one of the best in the nation at blocking the volleyball, and it was a struggle to get through it. But if she can stay on a roll today, maybe a few extra windows of opportunity for her. Danielle Hagler, 10 kills, a pair of blocks last night as well. Morgan Freege, 9 kills and a pair of blocks last night for the Vikings also. So between that triumvirate, if you will, for the Vikings, Fridgen, Hagler, and Freege, those are the players that you're looking to step up and have a big, big run today and through the course of the year. And it's worth mentioning all 3 are seniors as well. So if you're going to find that, senior rush, knowing that your career is starting to wind down, well, maybe there's some extra motivation for those players to really get that started. Not that they haven't had the motivation already. They have. They've been the heart and soul of Viking volleyball since the national tournament run a couple of years ago. Maybe not so much Fridgen. She transferred in after that, but certainly Danielle Hagler, Morgan Freege, the heart and soul the last 2 years for the Vikings. And now they've got to see if they can find those 3 players to really step up, have a great role, and continue moving forward for the Vikings. So that's the players to watch for the Vikings coming up here today. Now, as far as Montana State Northern is concerned, you're going to see one of the best overall volleyball players in the conference come into the gym today. Macy Uffelman really jumps off the page because she's in every category as an all-around player that you can find. 176 kills, which doesn't lead the team, but 419 assists does lead the team. She's also put together 281 digs and 46 blocks this year. So Macy Uffelman has an all-around capability. We're going to say her name a lot today for Montana State Northern. Their leader is Macy Selman, 217 kills on the season, hitting at 236 on the year. And so that's definitely a player that's worth watching today for Montana State Northern as well. And also Lexi Jones, a 97 block season so far for Montana State Northern. So this is a team that knows how to block. Again, the Vikings saw that yesterday against the University of Providence as well. The leader for the Vikings, Macy Phrygian, 206 kills, now hitting 147 on the year. Danielle Hagler, 187 kills, hitting at 282. Morgan Frigi at 152 kills and hitting at 219. And, the Vikings switched to a 6-2 format this year, and the two setters kind of carbon copies of each other right now. Gracie Schumacher, 353 assists. Madden Bogenreef, 359 assists on the year. Bogenreef, 160 digs. Gracie Schumacher, 152 digs. They've mirrored each other rather well so far this season. Those will be some of the players to watch for Valley City State coming up later on today as well. That's a preview of what's happening here today as we conclude our Sanford Health Valley City pregame report, brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City, here for all and here for good. We're getting ready for the announcement of the lineups and our national anthem, which we'll have for you coming up next. We're going to take a time out here in our pregame report and come back to get ready to put this one in play today. It's the Vikings and Montana State Northern, game number 3, match number 3 of the week for the Vikings. And this is our coverage of Viking volleyball on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and on newsdakota.com. We're back with more in just a bit. Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, we're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Why choose Professional Eye Care Centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Bond, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Jangula, 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
Quality education, affordable tuition, student opportunities. That's the Viking promise. Valley City State University. Discover yourself here at VCSU. Visit today.
National anthem taken care of here today. Welcome back to Gratian Gymnasium. Our coverage of Viking volleyball continues here today on newsdakota.com and on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Ryan Cunningham with you here today as we get ready to go with Viking volleyballs. They take on Montana State University Northern here this afternoon. Our pregame report brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City, here for all and here for good. Let's take a look at our starting lineups that we have for today. Our starters, first of all, for the Montana State Northern lights or skylights. Now, for those of you that are viewing from out in Montana or our Montana State Northern fans, I took our lead on the scoreboard graphics today from what is on the Montana State Northern website, and it seems as though they referred to the volleyball team as the Skylights, whereas the other teams are called the Lights. It's worth mentioning on the hard program here today, the team is referred to as the Lights. certainly apologize if Skylights was incorrect, but again, it seemed like based on what the university at Montana State Northern was putting forward, the branding, if you will, was the Skylights. And so I'm going to assume that that is what they wanted for the volleyball matchup today. Let's take a look at their starting lineups today for Montana State Northern. Their starting libero will be Bailey Egan, a 5'7" senior from Colstrip, Montana. Starting center is Emily Bird, a 5'4" sophomore from Townsend, Montana today. Also starting with a setter/hitters look will be Macy Selman, a 5'8" senior from Valentine, Montana. The outside hitter position will be Lexa Stock, a 5'11" junior from Calgary, Alberta. And today, the middle positions, Cadence Wiggins, a 5'11" senior from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and Lexi Jones, a 6'1" freshman from Heritage Point, Alberta. Jerry Wagner is the head coach at Montana State University Northern. Today for the Vikings, the starting libero will be J.C. Richter. Richter, a 5'9" senior from Linton, North Dakota. Starting center will be Madden Bogenreef, a 5'8" freshman from Moorhead, Minnesota. The outside hitters, Macy Frigin, a 6'1" senior from Bismarck, North Dakota, and Eden Corrier, a 5'10" junior from Cavalier, North Dakota. Also at outside, Emma Lucas, a 6' senior from Argusville, North Dakota. And the middles today, expecting to see Danielle Hagler in the middle position. And we will. Danielle Hagler, a 5'11" senior. Danielle from Candu, North Dakota. Opening serve coming from Montana State University Northern. Macy Frigin attacks wide, an error. And the point will go to the Lights, or the Skylights. And I believe the other starter today, let's see what we got here. They're going to list J.C. Richter. Yep, we got that one. Annika Pulju will start as a defensive specialist. 5'7" freshman from Sabika, Minnesota. And an attack will score for the Vikings to tie things up at 1 apiece. So 1 apiece, those are your starting lineups that we have for today. Morgan Frigi will come into the front row for the Vikings. Delaney Clark will enter in the back row. And Clark will step back to the serving for Valley City State. Serve on the way, take it up to the back row by the Lights, and an attack coming from the right side will score that from Lexi Jones. Well, I have a little bit of a challenge today. I want to correct one thing from the pregame report. It's Macy Selman that has 419 assists. So Macy Selman, 217 kills, team leader, and 419 assists, also team leader for Montana State University Northern. That means they're going to play that hybrid 6-1 type of look. Frigi attacking with the left hand. Got stopped at the net by Lexi Jones. It'll come back to the right bin. Emma Lucas will score, and that'll tie it up at 2. When we talk about the 6-1, you're used to either a 5-1 or a 6-2, but we see more and more of this happening where your starting setter is also a front row player. If you have a tall, athletic setter that can do both, you'll keep her all around and play her in the front row when her position goes up there, and just put in a new setter in the back row, turn her into a full-time hitter if she's up front. Set right side, Frigi into the net. That'll be blocked again. Lexi Jones will get credit for a block. 3-2 Montana State University Northern. Lexi Jones, 97 blocks on the season, and that's probably a player from Montana State Northern where they feel like they can block solo. They probably don't have to scheme or do a lot of things as far as double teaming defensively if she has the opportunity to step out and do some damage as a blocker. Right side, and Frigin had that set go behind her. Couldn't really make good contact with it. That'll make it a 4-2 lead for Montana State Northern in the Skylights. Bailey Egan is the libero for Montana State Northern and is serving. Egan stands ready. Serve on the way. We'll see Delaney Clark stepping into the pass. Frigi from the outside, touched at the net. Montana State Northern has it on their end. An attack going far side. J.C. Richter picks it up. Backed out to Frigin on the outside. That will score. Macy Frigin comes up with a play for the Vikings to cut the Montana State Northern lead to 1 at 4-3. Frigin steps off, and Eden Corrier comes into the matchup. Rosie Anderson is also on the floor for Valley City State. And J.C. Richter will step back to do the serving for the Vikings. So Richter stands ready, and the serve on the way. Taken up by Bailey Egan on the pass. They'll set to the right pin, and defeating a block and scoring Macy Selman. 217 kills on the year, as we mentioned, but 419 assists, and her position will now go to the back row. And so now we'll see if there's a one versus the other skill that Selman specializes in. Good serve from Selman. Pass coming from Delaney Clark, stayed in the back row. Schumacher had to run to it. Rosie Anderson from the right pin gets through contact and scores for the Vikings. Makes it a 5-4 lead for the Skylights. Vikings back with Danielle Hagler stepping into the front row. And Annika Pulju will move back to serve for the Vikings. Pulju stands ready. Serve towards the far side of the floor. Passed very near the net. Saved. They've allowed a lot of that to go without the contact call this week. Courier attacking. Hits the back line for the Vikings. They'll say touched by Montana State Northern. Score for Courier. And the Vikings tie it up at 5 with Montana State Northern. Maybe a brief conversation between Northern head coach Jerry Wagner and the officials on where the contact was. And now an error in receiving for Montana State Northern. Pulju will serve up an ace. The Vikings reclaim the lead. It's now 6-5. Valley City State by 1 here in the opening set on the LaRue-Laco Financial scoreboard. Pulju serving. Egan steps back into a pass again. Set well beyond the far antenna. Josie Hasler saved it for the Lights. Courier again. Egan dug it up but can't keep it playable. The Vikings get another kill from Egan Courier. And Valley City State beginning to find some first set rhythm. They had a little bit of this last night as well against the Argos. Got things going in a hurry against the Argos. Built up as much as a 5-point lead late. Pass out of the back row for Montana State Northern. They dump to the middle on second contact. Josie Hasler dumps one over to the middle for Montana State Northern. And the Viking lead will be trimmed to 7-6. Montana State Northern will step back to serve. It'll be Josie Hasler that steps back to do the serving. Schumacher setting middle and a block up front that will come from Cadence Wiggins, stuffing a play down the middle from Danielle Hagler. That'll tie things up at 7 apiece. Wiggins 51 blocks on the season, and they've got plenty of blocking potential, but Wiggins and Lexi Jones, who we saw earlier, are their top blockers. And the Vikings will have an error in receiving serve, and the point will go to Montana State University Northern. As a matter of fact, I caught that volleyball here at the broadcast position. 8-7, Montana State Northern. With a 1-point lead, they've come back for 3 in a row. Good hard serve again. Pulju stepping into the pass, got to it. Courier gets through some contact from the outside. A favorable flop off the net. Courier scores, and the Vikings tie things up at 8 apiece. Emma Lucas will come back into the matchup for Valley City State. And Madden Bogenreef will come back into the matchup to serve and set for the Vikings. Egan down to make the pass. They set middle. Block at the net. May have been net contact. They're going to call it.
That was the hitter.
And the officials are going to talk together, and Michelle Micklejohn will talk about it. I believe they called Emma Lucas for the net contact. Michelle Micklejohn believes that the net contact came from Montana State University Northern, but the officials have called the net contact on the Vikings, and it's a 1-point Montana State Northern lead by a score of 9-8. J.C. Richter back to get to it, tipped by Courier towards the middle. Montana State Northern covers, comes back to their outside pin. A try from Macy Uppelman. It's Courier getting through contact and scoring again. Man, Eden Courier has had such a great second half of the season for Valley City State. She's waited her opportunity to come in and be an impact player, but she's developed some physicality at the net, and she may be undersized at 5'7", but we've talked about the move to the Frontier Conference and the value of physical play in this league. Eden Courier getting it done. Service error coming from Molly Bjornaby, who stepped in for service rotation. And now Courier will take her spot, and that will allow the libero, J.C. Richter, to step in and resume play. 10-9 your score. Montana State Northern by 1. Emily Bird will go back to serve for the Skylights. Serve deep, Annika Pulju getting to a pass. Frigid from the outside defeats a block and scores. Macy Frigid coming up with another big kill. Vikings tie it up at 10 apiece. Frigid a big night last night for Valley City State with 18 kills. Already with 3 today. Eden Courier has 3 as well for the Vikings. The outside has been productive. Delaney Clark doing the serving. Pass coming near the net. An attack near side coming from Macy Selman. Vikings counter. Lucas off contact from the right pin. Dug up back row by Josie Hasler. And a kill from the outside down for Selman. Macy Selman finishes the play, moving back into a front row rotation. Didn't really notice a lot of drop-off for Montana State Northern while Selman was in the back row. 11-10, Northern with a 1-point lead over the Vikings. And we'll see Brooklyn Minden stepping in to do the serving. Up front, an attack coming from Morgan Freege that will score for the Vikings. Back to the middle for Valley City State. To say that the middle wasn't as productive last night as the Vikings would have liked it would be a bit of an understatement. Both Freege and Danielle Hagler hitting below 100 last night from those middle positions. It was a tough night in the middle last night. The Vikings would want more production in that spot here today. Frigin tipping towards the middle. Double team was on top of her. Here's a quick try up front. The Vikings counter it. Rosie Anderson getting through a wall up front. Emily Bird was there to make a pass of it. A tip coming in from Josie Hasler. Back to the right for Anderson. Mishit it wide. And the point will go to Montana State Northern. Skylights take a 12-11 lead. Back into the matchup, Bailey Egan to do the serving here for the Skylights. Neither team with a big window so far. Skylights won 3 rallies in a row at 1 point to reverse a 2-point lead. There's an illegal attack. Did they just call a back row block against the Vikings? That is a very strange call. Montana State Northern takes a 2-point lead at 13-11. Freege attacking and scoring off the outside pin for Valley City State. The ball had not yet broken the plane. That was actually a previous play. That was attacked on the Viking side. I expected an illegal attack against Montana State University Northern. Instead, they made a rather obscure call, an illegal block against the Vikings. Okay, interesting. Up front, an attack coming in from Cadence Wiggins. And Michelle Micklejohn says that Wiggins was in the net. That was not called. Off to the outside pin, a block by the Vikings that will score. Macy Selman stuffed on the right pin. Montana State Northern trying the right. Freege teams up with Poirier to turn that aside. We're deadlocked at 13 in the opening set on the LaRue Lacroix Financial scoreboard. 13 apiece between the Vikings and the Skylights. J.C. Richter to do the serving for the Vikings. Pass made by Macy Selman, coming back near side, blocked by the Vikings on a tip attempt from Josie Hasler. Selman saves it well outside the antenna, and now the Vikings fall apart as the first contact going towards the net. Schumacher trying to save it from going into the net, and no one home to take care of it on the back end. 14-13, Montana State Northern with a 1-point lead over Valley City State. Macy Selman back to the back row now for the Skylights. Delaney Clark with a good pass for the Vikings. Up front, Freege. Good wave to attack to it. This one ends up going wide on a deflection from Lexa Stock, trying to save a ball from Montana State Northern. And the Vikings have tied it up at 14. 28 rallies in, dead even. Danielle Hagler steps into the matchup. Annika Pouliou will go back to serve for Valley City State. A back step for Josie Hasler to get to the pass. Blocked at the net. Anderson teaming up with Danielle Hagler to turn away an attempt from Josie Hasler on the outside pin. 15-14, the Vikings take a 1-point lead on a double team block between Anderson and Danielle Hagler. Serve on the way again. Egan making the pass to the middle. This one down. Big attack for Cadence Wiggins. Wiggins 142 kills on this season, hitting at 255. She and Lexi Jones tops when it comes down to hitting percentage, and the 2 blockers together as well. An offensive machine. You throw in Macy Selman when she's front row, and they're tough to beat. Josie Hasler stepping back to serve for the Skylights. Richter making the pass. Up front, Hagler attacking. Dug up into a joust. Hagler wins it. Hagler able to out-joust Cadence Wiggins at the net. Vikings up 1 at 16-15. Emma Lucas back into the matchup. And Madden Bogenreef will step on to serve for Valley City State. Bogenreef ready. Serve on the way. Egan trying to run it down. Got there. Back to the near side. Deep push coming. The Vikings counter with Bogenreef. Courier trying to tip around some traffic after the set was offline. Both teams running out of system. Another tip. This time it's Bogenreef that got to it. This will stay back row, and Emma Lucas couldn't recover. Boy, neither team really ran a play that they wanted to in that sequence. And Montana State Northern kind of wins a battle of attrition. This will bring Lexi Jones, the big 6'1" hitter, back to the front row. The blocker as well. Came in with 97 blocks in the season, already has a couple here today. And this time we'll see Danielle Hagler tipping over the top of her from the middle. Here's a play off the outside. Lexa Stock trying to get through. Actually, right pin for Montana State Northern. Now a little scoop. Ball battled for. Turned by Lucas. Tipped back by the Vikings. And a kill for Danielle Hagler. Tipping through the middle on another battle of attrition broken play. Vikings back up one at 17-16. Molly Birnaby steps back into the matchup for Valley City State. Birnaby ready. Serve on the way. Little back pedal to get to it for Josie Hasler. Near side down, Macy Uffleman. We haven't said her name a lot so far today, but Uffleman comes up with a kill. That will likely be her first of the matchup. $17 all between the Vikings and Montana State University Northern. In the opening set, Emily Bird serving. Oh, it hit the back line. Vikings let it go, and it hit the back line. 18-17, Montana State Northern takes the lead, and Valley City State will call for timeout. So the Vikings want a stoppage. 18-17, Northern over the Vikings here in the opening set. On the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, we have a timeout on the floor. This is Viking Volleyball on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, NewsDakota.com, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right.
All this week at Lever's Foods, all of your fall favorites are on sale. Cremette pasta, 97 cents each. Progresso soups, $1.59 each. Jack's pizzas, 3 for $9.99. Lever's fresh yellow onions, 3-pound bag, $1.79 each. And 85% lean ground beef, only $5.49 a pound. Delivery is available by calling 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
Welcome back to Viking Volleyball from Gratian Gymnasium here on a Saturday afternoon in October. The Vikings trailing Montana State Northern opening set by a score of 18-17. Ryan Cunningham with you here today. Individual numbers, Macy Fridgen, Eden Courier, Morgan Freege, all with 3 kills for the Vikings. Montana State Northern led by Macy Selmans, 3. Cadence Wiggins with 2. Serve on the way for Northern from Emily Bird. Pass coming from Richter, set middle. The attack going to go up near a net and come down. And guess what? We could play on. We had that come up last night as well, and nobody home in the middle. Montana State Northern will take a point after Bogenreef apparently was calling a right side slide for Danielle Hagler, and the set went to the middle. Actually, it might have been Hagler that was calling for the slide, and Bogenreef set middle instead. Northern takes a 19-17 advantage. Pouliou making the pass. Fridgen blocked from the outside pin for the Vikings. To the right side for Lucas. Got off some contact. Josie Hasler was able to get there. Big attack and score. Macy Selman from the right pin for Montana State Northern. And Northern takes the first 2 points out of the Viking timeout, and they grab some pretty clear momentum in the opening set, leading by a score of 20-17. They serve again. Richter making the pass. Back set. Lucas, a tip towards the middle, down. Read something where the middle had weakened up. Lucas comes up with a tip to the middle. Vikings back within 2. Morgan Freege rotates back to the front row for Valley City State. And Delaney Clark will step back to serve. This is a big, big point in the matchup, though. The first set, Lexi Jones still on the floor for Montana State Northern. And the Vikings get an ace from Delaney Clark on an error in receiving from Macy Uffleman. That doesn't happen very often. Uffleman may have been fooled, didn't get a good batter's eye on it or something like that, but nonetheless, the Vikings come up with a point almost for free. Lead cut to 1 at 20-19, but there's the attacking factor of Lexi Jones. Again, that 6'1" frame, tough to get a block on her. 21-19, Vikings back down 2. Brooklyn Minden will come and do the serving for Montana State Northern. Serve on the way, and that's an error. Vikings will get one back after letting one fall not that long ago. Lead cut to 21-20. Gracie Schumacher back in to take over the setter's responsibilities. Rosie Anderson will step in to hit. Need a point here to try to tie this thing up. 21-20, Montana State Northern by 1. Serve from Schumacher. Tough pass back row for Brooklyn Minden. Playable, however. Ball comes out to the near side, sent over by Josie Hasler. Back set Anderson off a touch. Kept alive by Minden. And again, Montana State Northern rallying to in the middle of the floor. A tip to the middle that induces Schumacher to send it over. Now an attack up front from Lexi Jones that's touched. The Vikings have it. Frigian trying to defeat a block. It stays on the Viking side. Schumacher sent it over on second contact. It was returned by Jones on first contact. Now a free ball from Montana State Northern back to the Vikings. Freegee tipping middle. It's kept alive. And with their back to the net, Jones sends it over with one hand. The Vikings dump to the middle on second contact. Schumacher wins a spirited rally. That ties the matchup at 21 each. Schumacher stepping back to serve. Good hard serve. They'll set to the outside pin into the net. Nope, that'll beat a Viking block. My apologies. Josie Hasler comes up with a kill. Again, our vantage point low on the floor. We don't get to see much from an angle. So sometimes we get fooled by those courtside. We're actually lower than the officials who take a look at it. Bailey Egan sending over on the serve. Right side, Frigian gets off the contact. Montana State Northern able to save another ball. Cadence Wiggins sends it over. Now Freegee sliding right pin will score. Great play call when you slide out to the right pin and you force that block to move. It really doesn't get a chance to form up, and your opportunity at a blocking error with the ball going off a side of a hand while the block is moving, just so much better. We're tied at 22. And J.C. Richter will step back to serve for Valley City State. Far side of the floor, Selman making first contact with it. And the attack on the near side, touched. This will be near the seats. Taken up by Schumacher on a save. Delaney Clark sends it over on a free ball. Back set right side, Selman off of a touch. The Vikings tip on second contact with Freegee. It comes out to the outside pin, a block by the Vikings wide. Josie Hasler will get the kill. 23-22, Montana State Northern, a 1-point lead in the later stages of this opening set. And Northern will have Macy Selman in the back row to serve. Good hard serve, Delaney Clark turns into the pass. Freegee attacking middle, mishit it. And now it's set point for Montana State Northern. The Vikings will call for timeout. The Vikings with their backs to the wall in the opening set, 24-22. Northern by 2 here in the first. We'll come back with more in a moment on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel at newsdakota.com.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Timeout taken by the Vikings as the Skylights force set point here in the first. It is 24-22, a 2-point lead for Montana State Northern. And Valley City State with their backs to the wall here in the opening set after what has been a very competitive first set of play. Vikings so far with 4 kills for Morgan Freegee, 3 apiece now for Macy Frigian, Eden Courier, and Emma Lucas. But Montana State Northern leading 24-22, and they will serve out of the Viking timeout. Macy Selman, their leading killer, is back row right now. She's also their leading setter. Need a good pass here for the Vikings. Try to reset the character of this opening set. Serve on the way, back row, Eden Courier making the pass. Back set, Rosie Anderson not where she needs to be. And the Vikings will fall in the opening set by a score of 25-22. Just a tough play where the Vikings did not get some communication pieces done in that situation to try to come up with a play out of their side out. And the Vikings will fall 25-22 in the opening set. It'll be 1-0 in favor of Montana State Northern and the Skylights after our first set of play. We'll come back with our intermission report. Intermission report brought to you today by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good at Rambo, and it's next on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and newsdakota.com.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. Let us help you become our next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, you can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. Get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
Welcome back to our coverage of Viking volleyball here on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and newsdakota.com. Ryan Cunningham with you today from Gratian Gymnasium. The Vikings trailing a set to none to Montana State Northern as the Skylights take home the opener by a score of 25-22. Rambo brings you our intermission report. Rambo is your home for all of your promotional products and promotional apparel. They specialize in making you look good at Rambo. That is their business. It's time for you to put your logo to work, whether it's for your team or it's for your business. Rambo will make sure that it gets done right on time and make sure that it looks good. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good. Both teams hit well in the opening set, but Montana State Northern hit exceptionally well. 286 in the first set. The Vikings hit just 200. But one of the things that steps up, Montana State Northern, according to the stat sheet, had just 10 kills. Valley City State had 17 kills in the opening set, but fell, in part maybe due to some errors in the lower hitting percentage. The Vikings serve up an ace to get things started in the second set. Individual numbers, Morgan Freege, 4 kills for the Vikings, 3 each, Macy Fridgen, Eden Courier, and Emma Lucas. 4 kills for Macy Selman led the way for the Skylights. 1-0 in favor of Montana State Northern in sets. 1-0 Vikings here in the second set. A ball partially blocked by the Vikings, sent back over by Danielle Hagler. Lucas gets it back off the Viking right, sends it over, and Montana State Northern returns back to the right pin. Lucas again, Egan trying to dig it up, can't get to it. Point will go to the Vikings, they take a 2-0 lead. Part of the bench gets knocked down here on the near side of the floor as there was a pretty good chase being given for that ball on the near edge. 2-0 Vikings here in the second set. J.C. Richter doing the serving for the Vikings. Shortens up, Egan sent this over into a free ball. Danielle Hagler kills it for the Vikings. Well, that's what you want to see if you're the Vikings. You get the errant pass, and when that ball came over, Danielle Hagler was waiting, just a free ball, and a free ball right over the middle of the net. As you take a look at that on our replay, that's not what you want to see. If you're going to free ball one, you want to make sure you do it to an edge. If it goes over the middle, that could be some real trouble. Selman from the outside will score for Montana State Northern, and the Skylights are on the board here in the second. Brooklyn Minden will step into the matchup. Macy Uppelman will step off, and Minden will do the serving for the Skylights in a 3-1 lead for the Vikings here in the second set. Minden standing ready, and the serve, a line drive, let's serve. Pouliou stayed with it, got the pass on it. The attack from Hagler, dug up by Egan, far side of the floor, an attack coming from Josie Hasler. The outside for Northern, for the outside for the Vikings. That one taken by Macy Frigid. Through the middle, Selman gets some contact off the net and will score. Macy Selman has another kill for Montana State Northern. 3-2, Northern back within one. And Brooklyn Minden will step back to do the serving for Montana State Northern. Minden serve on the way. Pouliou struggling with the pass. Richter had to go over and make a save of it. Egan did, actually, rather, not Egan, my apologies, but Lucas did the best that she could on the far side of the floor, the ball behind her. Montana State Northern comes back with 3 straight. And the early momentum for the Vikings gone, now tied at 3 apiece. Serve on the way again, this one long. And the Vikings will get one back on a service error from MSU Northern. Freegee back in. And Delaney Clark will come back into the matchup for Valley City State as well. Clark will do the serving. 4-3 lead for the Vikings here in the second. Serve to the near side, passed very near the net, but salvageable. A block coming in on an attempt from Hasler. It stayed on the Montana State Northern side. Hasler tries again from the outside. Macy Frigid there hit that one long. Vikings lobbying for a touch they don't get, and the point will go to the Skylights. That'll tie things up at 4 apiece, and Bailey Egan will step back to do the serving for Montana State Northern. Egan sends one over. Delaney Clark steps into the pass. Near side, Frigid, that's down. Well, it should be down. It was kicked up front by Montana State Northern. You know, and believe it or not, Cadence Wiggins got a foot on that. I've seen it twice this year, once in a Viking game, and then once in a high school game as well, where a ball's been kicked successfully over the net. Play has continued. That time it was not kicked successfully, but little known rule in volleyball, you can do that, defeating a block and scoring Cadence Wiggins on an attack to the middle for Montana State Northern. Northern hasn't really been middle driven so far today. They played the pins really more heavily than the middle at this point. 5-5, we're tied here in the second set. Delaney Clark stepping into a ball, stays back row. Freegee from the attack line, put it into the net. That rally showing you just how important that pass is. Pass didn't clear the attack line, didn't get into the front row. Gracie Schumacher has to make a long run to get it. And the offense just compromised at that point. Selman serving, another tough receive that time. It'll be tipped by Frigid into the middle. Egan sent it into the net. It's saved off the net. Selman free balls it back over. Schumacher setting, middle in, blocked. Frigid trying to get at it. Blocked. Lexa Stock teaming up front. Cadence Wiggins might have got part of it. Stock probably going to get more of it. Northern takes the 2-point lead at 7-5. Macy Selman steps back, ready to serve for Montana State Northern. Delaney Clark will step into the pass. Schumacher setting middle. Freegee is blocked. Rosie Anderson covered it. Back to the right side, and a touch that time from Macy Frigid, perhaps trying to tip, put it into the bottom of the net. And a timeout going to be taken by the Vikings as they fall behind by 3 in the second. Good start for the Vikings in the second set, but Montana State Northern coming back with an impressive block. They lead 8-5 over the Vikings here in set 2. And they lead a set to nothing on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have more Viking volleyball coming up in a moment on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and NewsDakota.com.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, we're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Welcome back to Viking Volleyball on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and NewsDakota.com from Gratian Gymnasium. The Vikings trailing by a score of 8-5 here in the second set, and trailing a set to none after dropping the first 25-22 in a back and forth battle until late. Montana State Northern pulling away to win that first set, and right now making a move here in the earlier portion of the second set. It induces a Viking timeout. Schumacher running after another long pass. Freegee will attack the middle and score. The Vikings get a point out of the side, right? We'll get a side out of the timeout. Frigid steps off, and Hannah Whelan will step in to do the serving for the Vikings. Senior out of Daisy, North Dakota, youth coach here in Valley City. Been a tremendous ambassador for the Vikings during her time at VCSU. An attack on the far side of the floor for Lexa Stock. Vikings send it back with Freegee on second contact, and MSU Northern can't answer. Macy Selman coming out to try to guard the line on that push by Freegee. Vikings back within 1 at 8-7. Hannah Whelan stepping back to serve again for the Vikings. Good serve to the back row. Pass comes in from Brooklyn Minden to their right, and a try over contact for Josie Hasler. Vikings struggle with it. Courier sends it back on a free ball to the middle. Big play by Wiggins, hanging in the air to attack that ball. Courier, the quick setup. Passed into a free ball. Courier sends it back row. This will be set back to the outside. A block coming from Freegee. Wiggins again. Whelan made first contact with it. Courier again to the back line, and Egan's there for the Skylights. Back to the right. An attempt coming from number 9, Josie Hasler. The Vikings try from their right pin with Rosie Anderson. Tip that time coming in from Selman. The Vikings cover into a joust, and Morgan Freegee touched the net. Another long rally, but that time Freegee got her hand on the net. And the Vikings will trail 9-7 here in the second set. Josie Hasler will step back to serve for Montana State Northern. Hasler served to the near side of the floor. Passed by Courier. Rosie Anderson tipping right pin. Nice score for Rosie Anderson. Her approach to the net was a good one. It kind of froze the libero, Bailey Egan. She didn't know whether to step up or stay back, and Rosie Anderson has the ability to hit line, so she had to sort of hang out. Vikings back within 1 at 9-8. Annika Puliu will step back to serve. Egan trying to take it. Long run to get there for Selman. It hit a rafter and came back playable. Egan sent it over on a free ball. A turn by Wiggins to defend a tip, and Uppelman will tip for Montana State Northern. Vikings back to their right pin. Anderson blocked. It was covered by Gracie Schumacher. Now to the middle for Courier. That one taken deep on the back line. Up front, Uppelman trying to get around contact. Schumacher making first contact with it. Courier has to save a free ball. Wiggins there. Ball goes back to Uppelman. She defeats a block and scores. Wiggins did a nice job of freezing the block by approaching the middle. And that allowed the play to go back out to Uppelman for a tip. 10-8, Montana State Northern leads by 2 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard in the second. They won the opening set, 25-22. Northern serving. J.C. Richter steps into the pass. Up front, big attack. That'll be Danielle Hagler finding the far line. Saw our parents here, Jeff and Marla from Candu. I mentioned to them the first time that I saw Danielle Hagler play. It's a match during the COVID era. She had 31 kills against Grafton and a 3-2 loss for the Bearcats that night at the hands of the Grafton Spoilers. I said, one of those would be nice to see again. I'm sure she agrees. A kill attempt on the right side for Lexa Stock, and Stock will get into the act for Montana State Northern. Makes it 11-9 with the Skylights on top here in the second set. And we'll see a step back and a serve for Emily Bird for Montana State Northern. On the near side, Lucas blocked. It stays alive. J.C. Richter down on a knee to save that ball. And now Montana State Northern have the free ball, one back over with Bird. Set very near the net. Courier into the net. I'm not sure if they're ruling that a block or not. Selman was out there to defend the right pin, or I should say the outside pin, but it looked like that ball stayed underneath the tape. 12-9, Montana State Northern taking a 3-point lead. Again, more momentum, my apologies, being put on here by the Skylights. Back set Selman, she's blocked, but blocked wide. Hagler got a piece of it that time, taking away that right pin from Selman. But again, the block goes errantly, and the Vikings have already used a timeout in this second set, so they're reluctant to use another here, even though the Skylights looking at putting up a big lead. That'll be turned away. Danielle Hagler for the moment comes up with a kill out of the middle. Lead cut to 13-10. Morgan Freegee with 6 kills leading the way for the Vikings right now. Friggin, Hagler, and Lucas each with 4. J.C. Richter stepping back to serve for the Vikings. Egan stepping back to make the pass. Up front, big attack that time from Lexi Jones. Stopped. Jones again goes into the net. And the point will go to the Vikings. Lexi Jones, an imposing figure, but important to remember, 6'1", but a freshman. Her better days are far ahead of her, and she's still very good this year. 97 blocks as a freshman is truly impressive for Montana State University Northern's freshman in the middle, Lexi Jones. Selman getting around contact, scoring on the far line. 14-11 lead for Montana State Northern, back to 3. And we'll see Brooklyn Minden stepping back into the matchup to serve for Montana State Northern and the Skylights. Minden stands ready. Serve on the way from Minden. Taken out of the back row by Annika Pulju. Back set, right side, Lucas. Getting around some contact. Long run to get there. A try off the far edge by Josie Hasler from there outside. Back to the middle for Hagler. Didn't get all of it. Again, Hasler, this time blocked to the net. Joust coming up. No joust attempt made. It'll fall on the northern side. Phrygian was there to try to go up against Jones in the middle of the net. But the point will go to the Vikings, as really Jones couldn't get there to make contact with it. Vikings back within 2 at 14-12. Serve on the way from Delaney Clark. Taken back row by Brooklyn Minden. Back to the right. Selman gets off a piece of contact from the Vikings. Vikings there. Phrygian attacking middle and scoring. Egan trying to defend the far sideline. It's been a while since we've seen Macy Phrygian get into the act here. 5 kills, hitting .062 for the day. And a timeout will be taken by Montana State Northern as the Vikings get back to within 1. Timeout taken by the Skylights. It's 14-13, Montana State Northern in the second, with the Skylights leading a set to none. And we have a timeout on the floor on a LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and on newsdakota.com.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
Skylights leading 14-13 the second set. They won the opener by a score of 25-22. What's coming up next for Valley City State? Well, it's worth mentioning, it's not on your screen, but later today, the Viking football team in action at Madison, South Dakota when they take on Dakota State. October 23rd, how about that? Women's basketball at Northern State University coming up this week. That's on the Vikings coming up next. A tip into an attempt at the net for Lexi Jones. The Vikings are able to respond to. Jones now swinging and scoring. Lexi Jones getting up and putting down an attack in the middle. Northern State, rather I should say Montana State Northern, will get the point out of the timeout with a side out. And now I'm going to have that on my brain. What's interesting is that Northern State and Montana State Northern share the same color scheme. And now I'm looking at that on the schedule coming up. Little dump up front that time for the Vikings. Nicely done. Free-G, Lucas getting together, attacking that middle. 15-14. The Vikings back within 1. But yeah, women's basketball on the 23rd, so we begin to get into that. And lots of exhibitions to get started. I think the first counters are on Halloween. An attack far side, blocked at the net. Free-G getting into the action, attacking Josie Hasler and turning Hasler's attempt away. Free-G gets out to close out the outside pin from Montana State Northern. 30 rallies into the second set. We're even at 15 apiece. Serve on the way from Schumacher. Tough pass, stays in the back row for Minden. Gets up to the attack line. Selman shortens up, got it over, dug up by Anderson. Phrygian attacking line and scoring. Or did she? No, it hit wide. Call is that ball hit wide. It looked like Phrygian thought she had it. And we're going to see a change here. Lexa Stock will come into the matchup for Montana State Northern, replacing Emily Bird. Seems like Stock wasn't quite ready to return. I don't think she knew that it was her trip out onto the floor. Serve on the way from Selman. for Montana State Northern. Set right pin, Frigid gets through a wall and scores. Macy Frigid from the right for the Vikings. Tied at 16. Eden Courier back into the matchup for Valley City State. Hannah Wieland will come back in to serve. Long way to go here in this second set. And Wieland sending one over. Taken back row by Egan. Set outside, long play by Lexa Stock. The Vikings able to counter. Right side, Rosie Anderson defeats it and scores. (17-16). The Vikings reclaim the lead. Valley City State by 1. Hannah Wieland stepping back to serve for the Vikings. Wieland serving again, that one going to be long. Egan making a long look at it, turning and allowing it to go. And Macy Uffelman will come back into the matchup for Montana State Northern. Josie Hasler steps back to serve for the Skylights. We're tied at 17 in the second set. Serve on the way, flops over the net. The Vikings save it. Frigi attacking middle and scoring. What a play for Valley City State. A save on the let serve, a dive to keep it afloat. Watch this as we take a look at it on a replay. You'll see this ball let serve and a dive just to keep it afloat. Bit of a pinball that put it into attacking range for Morgan Frigi. And Frigi comes up with a swing to kill it. And the Vikings take a 1-point lead at 18-17. Annika Pulju with a service error puts it back to 18 all. Addison falls down, will come into the matchup for Montana State Northern to serve. Plays a lot, freshman out of Billings, Montana. And she will serve for Montana State Northern. J.C. Richter makes the pass, Hagler blocked. Right at Lexi Jones. Jones wins it again. Jones looking at going over the 100 block total here today. Came in with 97. They've got a couple of solos for her right now. 19-18, Montana State Northern takes the lead. Anderson is blocked wide, and the point will go to the Vikings. Rosie Anderson from the right pin has a block that goes beyond the line. We're tied at 19 each here in the second set. Each team has used a timeout. Serve on the way for the Vikings. This will be set middle, and Lexi Jones able to put one away. They heard the whistle, and Jones thought that perhaps that ball was still alive, but they run right to the middle and score. So Lexi Jones puts one down for Montana State Northern to give the Lights a 20-19 lead. Emily Bird will step back to serve for MSU Northern. Annika Pulju trying to get to it. Courier right side, and that is wide. Courier trying to go court wide, and a timeout will be taken by Valley City State as the lead for Montana State Northern grows to 2. 21-19, second set lead for MSU Northern, and the Vikings trailing a set to nothing on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have a timeout on the floor. We're back with more in a couple of moments as we continue along on Viking Volleyball.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Timeout taken by Valley City State as MSU Northern wins a couple of key rallies down the stretch to grab a 21-19 lead. The Vikings led by a 17-16 margin, and Montana State Northern has found just a little bit of momentum. Again, this has been decided by the smallest of margins so far today, 25-22 in the opening set. Macy Selman with 8 kills today, and also with 4 assists so far this afternoon. 10 assists coming from Emily Bird from Montana State Northern, leading the way for the Skylights. And the Skylights will serve out of the Viking timeout. Pass from Richter, Hagler trying to tip deep. Up front, Jones gets through contact, but the Vikings are going to be called for illegal contact on a block attempt where the Vikings tried to shovel one up from the floor. So the freshman Heritage Point, Alberta, 6-1. Can't coach that. Lexi Jones really beginning to find an impact point here. Michelle Micklejohn unhappy about the illegal contact call. Meanwhile, serve from Emily Bird. Annika Pulyu making the pass, stays right pin. Courier attacking the back row. Dive to get to it, and Upfelman tries to attack. Partially blocked and then tipped over by Danielle Hagler. Upfelman will tip again. That one goes wide. They're going to call a touch on the Vikings. The Viking coaching staff doesn't like that either. But the Vikings trying to get out to a block, end up tipping a block wide, so the point will go to Northern on a blocking error. Now a big lead for Montana State Northern. 23-19, closing in on the end of the second set. Near side, Lucas trying to tip, block. Lexi Jones blocked it wide will be the call. Jones's block ends up missing the near sideline. So the Vikings get back to within 3. Here comes the challenge for Valley City State. J.C. Richter set to serve for the Vikings. Serve on the way, Egan goes down to get it. Got to score a few in a row here without the ability to side out. The attack on the right side by Lucas. From the attack line, Upfelman mishits one into the bottom of the net. This may be a time where Jerry Wagner, the head coach of the Skylights, is thinking about a timeout. You lose another one, you might have to take it. Right now, he's going to let it go. J.C. Richter stepping back to serve for Valley City State. And the Vikings have to score a couple of additional points without the side out, and instead, J.C. Richter commits a service error. And now, it'll be match point for Montana State Northern. I'm sorry, not match point, rather set point for Montana State Northern. Skylights a chance to take a big 2-0 lead, 2 sets to none lead. Towards the end of the second set. Serve on the way to the near side. Pulyu trying to get to the pass. It stays on the attack line. And a misfire from Macy Frigent from the attack line will put an end to the second set with the Skylights winning the second 25-21. It's a 2-0 lead for Montana State Northern after 2 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. For those of you on the video side, you will continue to get a live shot here as we take a break for the second intermission. And we'll come back with a moment in just a couple of moments on Viking volleyball. We welcome you back to Viking Volleyball as we get ready to go for set number 3. Intermission report brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good at Rambo. We'll go through some of the numbers. The hitting percentage for Valley City State struggling in the second set. Vikings down 2-0 as we start set number 3. Emma Lucas with an attack from the right pin. Montana State Northern running their offense. Selman from their right side. Both teams going to the right to start. Phrygian from the outside gets through contact and scores. And the Vikings take a 1-0 lead. Intermission summary brought to you by Rambo. Valley City State's hitting percentage falling from 200 to 143 in that second set. They struggled a bit there. Montana State Northern, a dip, but still very strong at 254 as far as the hitting percentage. They found some offense. Lexi Jones winding, gets blocked to the net by Frigi. Then an attack by Selman off the outside that will score. Now Montana State Northern ties it up at 1 apiece. Individual numbers, the Vikings led by Morgan Frigi, 7. Macy Phrygian with 6. Danielle Hagler, Emma Lucas each with 5 kills. Rosie Anderson with 4. Great balance today for Valley City State. 1-1 tie, just hasn't turned into a set victory as of yet. Delaney Clark with a pass, Frigi attacking. Egan somehow got enough to keep that afloat. This will be pushed back over by Josie Hasler. Back to the right, Emma Lucas on the pin. Knocked around the back row, and then a tip by Selman coming out to the Montana State Northern right. Back to Lucas for a tip on the Viking right. And Selman again from the middle, and that one hits the near sideline. Selman with a kill. She's got 8 after 2 sets today and is hitting a whopping .467. Also has 7 assists. Macy Selman with a big, big day, and we talked about her in the pregame report. A player that was definitely worth keeping an eye on. Brooklyn Minden will serve into the net. We're tied at 2. Rosie Anderson, Gracie Schumacher, both set to come back into the matchup. And we'll see Gracie Schumacher stepping back to serve for the Vikings. Serve on the way for Schumacher, down. Looks like bad back row communication that time between Egan and Minden as to who was going to take that pass. Neither did. And the Vikings get an ace out of Gracie Schumacher. And it's 3-2, Valley City State by 1. Schumacher, the lefty. Egan trying to make the pass very near the stands on the far side of the floor. Pushed back across the net. Vikings ready. Frigi from the middle. Frigi will score. And the Vikings make it a 4-2 lead on Montana State Northern here in the third. 2-0, Montana State Northern on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. And an attack by Schumacher hits the line. An ace for Gracie Schumacher. Vikings up 5-2. Valley City State trying to find some momentum here. Serve on the way from Schumacher. She served very well during this rotation. An attack coming from Jones that gets stuffed. Back over to the near side. Now an attack coming from Hasler. And 4 contacts will be the call. Vikings don't need a block on it. Hasler put it below the net. And Jerry Edwards, the head coach of Montana State Northern, wants a timeout as the Vikings come roaring back into the matchup. 6-2, Valley City State by 4, with Montana State Northern leading 2-0 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. More Viking volleyball on the way after this.
Why choose Professional Eye Care Centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Bond, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Jangula. 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
Timeout taken by Montana State Northern as the Vikings come roaring out to start set number 3. 6-2 your score. The Vikings lead by 4 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Vikings lost the opening set 25-22, lost the second set 25-21. Leading 6-2 right now. Gracie Schumacher resumes a service rotation as Montana State Northern took the timeout trying to disrupt it. Up front, the attack coming this time from Josie Hasler. And Morgan Frigi banging away from the middle will score for the Vikings. Big set that Morgan Frigi could work with, and she puts one away for Valley City State. The Vikings are up 7-2. Serve on the way from Schumacher again. A back pedal by Brooklyn Minden to get to the pass. Selman from the right side. The Vikings able to counter it. Anderson from the right into the antenna. 4 contacts will be the call. Probably didn't need to be. I'm pretty sure Rosie Anderson hit the antenna. It was indicated by the line judge. Nonetheless, an error by the Vikings. Montana State Northern back within 4 at 7-3. Serve on the way by Egan. Delaney Clark getting back for the pass. Back set right side, Phrygian. Partially touched up front, and it can't be countered. Phrygian's going to get a kill. Block formed up. Phrygian got through the contact. And no chance to rally behind it from Montana State Northern. And it's now 8-3 in favor of the Vikings. And J.C. Richter will step back to serve for Valley City State. Richter's serve taken up out of the back row by Brooklyn Minden. A block at the net between Freegee and Rosie Anderson. Attack coming from Josie Hasler, but the block forms up and takes away the outside from Montana State Northern. Vikings up 6 by a score of 9-3. Valley City State trying to stay alive, down 2-0. Serve from J.C. Richter, far sideline, tough cover. Stays afloat, off the near side, another tip by Hasler. The Vikings ready. Anderson from the right pin, into a block. Poirier was able to get a piece of it. Anderson stepping back. It goes to the middle off a let. Egan saved it. Big, deep push that hits the back sideline. And now we'll see Michelle Micklejohn, and they're lobbying for an illegal contact call. They're going to get it. Boy, the Viking coaching staff reacting to that rather quickly. We saw a step up off the seat for Viking assistant coach Jaden Wilson. Michelle Micklejohn was talking with the R2 right away about whether or not that was illegal contact on that kind of pitch and catch to the back line. It was ruled illegal contact. Vikings go up 7 by a score of 10-3. Back set right pin, Selman will score for Montana State Northern. That call was made last night against Morgan Freegee in the matchup with the University of Providence. And I think the general sentiment of the arena that night was that, yeah, that was illegal contact. And you're going to want that called day 2 if it went against you on day 1. Serve on the way from Montana State Northern. Courier, tough pass. Richter got all the way over to the entrance door to send that one back into play. Sent over by Courier. Off to the near side, the attack from Hasler. J.C. Richter with the dig. Freegee tipping middle. A cover off the backside by Selman from Montana State Northern. An attack coming near side from Lexa Stock. The Vikings able to counter. Courier into the net. That'll be 4 contacts. Courier trying to punch one across. Montana State Northern back within 5. The Vikings have led by as many as 7 here in the second set. Serve on the way again. Tough pass. Delaney Clark can't get to it. It's an ace. Selman serves up an ace for Montana State Northern. Her numbers today just really impressive all the way around. Selman with 11 kills, that leads the way. She has 7 assists in the matchup, 3 digs. A big day. Now put her on the board for an ace as well for Macy Selman. Morgan Freegee tying up a shoe. She stands ready. And a serve from Selman is a let serve. Courier trying to get to it, can't get enough underneath. And Montana State Northern is back within 4, and that's going to prompt a timeout from Michelle Micklejohn. So the lead for the Vikings reduced to 4. Montana State Northern, actually correction, back within 3 by a score of 10-7 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. And the Vikings trailed 2-0 in the matchup. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball. We're back with more in a moment.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a 2-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Holland can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy. Timeout taken by Valley City State. They started off with a 10-3 lead here in this second set. Third. Montana State Northern has come back to cut the lead to 3 at 10-7. And the Vikings call for a stoppage. We welcome you back to Gratian Gymnasium. Our coverage of Viking volleyball today. on newsdakota.com and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Montana State Northern will serve out of the Viking timeout. And it will be Macy Selman, who's had a big day today for Montana State Northern, to step back and do the serving. Serve on the way, and Delaney Clark gets a good pass on it. Right side, Freegee attacking, and it hit the far sideline. Freegee gets a call there. Boy, looking across the floor, that was really, really close, but we'll take it. And the Vikings are back up 4 by a score of 11-7. Annika Poolyu will step back to serve for Valley City State. Poolyu serving. Egan steps back to make the pass. Selman back setting on the right side. That one dug up for the Vikings. Rosie Anderson tipping off the right pin. Selman again saving a ball. Tip back across. The Vikings ready. Set middle, and Hagler trying to redirect. Hits the far sideline. Danielle Hagler coming up with an opportunity to attack. It's 12-7. The Vikings back up by 5. Annika Poolyu will serve. Taken back up front by Selman doing the setting. Wiggins will tip for Montana State Northern. Back set, Rosie Anderson blocked. Wiggins got up to it along with Lexa Stock. That'll cut the lead to 4 by a score of 12-8. Northern will step back with Josie Hasler doing the serving. Skylights trailing by 4 here in the third, leading 2-0. J.C. Richter stepping back to make the pass. Hagler attacking and scoring. Danielle Hagler puts an end to one in the middle. Vikings back up by 5 at 13-8. Madden Bogenreef to serve for Valley City State. Bogenreef ready, serve on the way. Pass back up front, Selman coming back to the near side. Uffelman made the pass, wanted the playback. Tips over, back left side. Another attack from Courier. Dug up out of the back row. This will be a tip on the near side from Lexa Stock. Pushed back over, one apiece. Bogenreef has it again for the Vikings. A save coming up front from Danielle Hagler. Montana State Northern back to Uffelman tipping. A dive by Bogenreef covered it. Free ball from Poolyu on the attack line. Montana State Northern back to the outside with Uffelman. She'll end it. Macy Uffelman puts an end to one on the outside pin for Montana State Northern. Viking lead challenged back to 4 at 13-9. And Addison falls down, comes back into the matchup to serve for Montana State Northern. Set middle, and an attack from Danielle Hagler. A lot of pinballing going on. Vikings want a call, they don't get it. They'll dump to the middle and score. Danielle Hagler sends in the middle open. Vikings back up 5 at 14-9. Fridgen back to the front row. Molly Bjornaby steps back in to serve for Valley City State. Bjornaby stands ready and the serve on the way. Taken out of the back by Josie Hasler. Up front, Uffelman into the net. Vikings increase their lead back to 6 at 15-9. Trying to make some steps towards forcing a 4th set here for Valley City State. The Vikings playing a little bit more crisply. Bjornaby serving. Pass very near the net, right up front. Lexi Jones after it. Free ball back over. Jones attacks it again. Vikings pinball one through. Poolyu saves a free ball. Back to the outside for Uffelman. She defeats a block and scores. Uffelman coming out to the outside pin, getting through a contact. J.C. Richter comes back on the floor for the Vikings in the back row. Viking lead cut back to 5 at 15-10 here in the third. Falls down, rather not falls down. Emily Bird back through the serving for Montana State Northern. Right side, Emma Lucas attacking from the pin. She's going to score. Emma Lucas gets an opportunity and takes advantage. Morgan Freegee will come back into the matchup for the Vikings. Lucas with 6 kills this afternoon. Hagler 7. Freegee with 8. Morgan Freegee steps back into the matchup with 10 kills today. Delaney Clark back to serve. Serve on the way. Egan backpedaling into the pass. Whistle. Illegal contact. Or are they going to call an illegal block? Looks like they'll call an illegal block. They'll say that ball was on the other. I don't know. Again, that call is confusing. Saw that play a lot last night, never had a violation on it. A slide to the right pin by Uffelman that will score. It's a play that certainly looks like there's a violation on it when a setter's trying to save a ball. And I believe they're trying to say that she brought one back from across the net to try to bring it back on her side. Once it crosses the plane, it's attackable for the other team. So a violation to try to bring it back. Brooklyn Minden will serve. Taken back by Delaney Clark. Middle, Freegee attacking. And a whistle. Now what have we got? Net contact, it looks like, against Montana State Northern. Lexi Jones apparently touched the net. Lead for the Vikings is 7 at 18-11 here in the third set. So 18-11, Vikings by 7, serving Schumacher. Off the right, Selman gets blocked. It's covered by Egan. Comes back out near side for Hasler, and Hasler's going to put it away. Josie Hasler has had a tough time finding an opening to work with here this afternoon, but she finds one there. Lead cut to 6 at 18-12. And Montana State Northern to serve. It'll be Bailey Egan stepping back to do so. Into the net. Service error by Montana State Northern. Serve on the way. Sent back to the right side. Selman attacking, and Selman will score. Serve on the way, taken back on the right side of the floor by Delaney Clark. Tipped by Rosie Anderson towards the middle. Northern trying to cover, they do, so we push back over. Up front, the attack from Freegee, and that one is going to Montana State Northern. They'll say Freegee's attack was wide. And the Skylights are back within 5 at 19-14. Macy Selman will serve once again. Delaney Clark stepping back into it. Back set right side, Freegee blocked. Taken up by J.C. Richter. Back to Courier tipping. A run up for Selman to get there. Ball goes back to the right pin. Big attack off the right side for Alexa Stock. Courier up front attacking. Egan was there to make the pass. Near side, a little tip coming again from Hasler. Vikings counter, Rosie Anderson. Did that make it around the antenna? We're going to say play on. Near side, maybe some net contact as well. It's getting loose here. Freegee attacking, that one will go long. And the point will go to Montana State Northern. And the Vikings want a timeout as their lead is down to 4 here in the third. 19-15, Valley City State leading by 4, trailing 2-0 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. More Viking volleyball is on the way next.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
Timeout taken by the Vikings. It's 19-15. Valley City State's lead back down to 4. And head coach Michelle Micklejohn trying to hold on to momentum as this third set has become a chess match really between both teams. The Vikings, I believe, are using their final timeout of the set. Montana State Northern, I believe, has done so already. Freegee with 11 kills for the Vikings. Macy Frigid with 8 to lead the way. Montana State Northern 12 from Macy Selman this afternoon. She has 10 assists to go with it. Blocking numbers right now. We see Cadence Wiggins, 2 solos and an assist to lead the way. Lexi Jones with 2 solos. Vikings up 4, Freegee from the right pin into the net, 4 contacts. And the lead will be cut to 3 at 19-16. Missed opportunity there. The Vikings didn't get a great pass. Just, again, receiving the serve has become so crucial with all these teams beginning to serve very aggressively. Courier getting there, tipped by Gracie Schumacher, will score in the middle. But to get back to that point, it seems like every team down the stretch run of the season has wanted to just serve very aggressively. And they've all found a way to do it, and that has been such a disruptive force for the Vikings. They've used it along with their opposition. And if you can't get that good pass, a team just can't get into its offense. Wiggins attacking and comes up hard on Gracie Schumacher. Wiggins will score it. Wiggins will cut the Viking lead to 3 at 20-17. And Josie Hasler will step in to do the serving. On the way, taken by Annika Pulju. Set back right side. Courier trying to get through some traffic. This will stay near the back row, then sent back over by Uffelman, flying off the outside pin to the right. Rosie Anderson having to tip. MSU Northern sends it back to their right. An attack from Lexa Stock. That gets stuffed. Uffelman near side down the line to score. And Northern's back within 2 at 20-18. Vikings need to side out badly because this is turned back into a tempo that Northern would probably favor. Serve on the way coming from Josie Hasler. It's be set back to the middle. Little tip again, that time coming from Danielle Hagler. And they're going to say this came back behind the antenna. Point will go to the Vikings. Hagler's tip will score. Vikings up 3 at 21-18. Emma Lucas back to the front row for Valley City State. Madden Bogenreef will step back to serve for the Vikings. Bogenreef ready. Egan steps into the pass. It's be set middle. Little tip. Cadence Wiggins will score. Wiggins tipping over the block. Northern still in striking distance at 21-19. And that rotation will bring Lexi Jones back into the matchup. And Lexi Jones has been a very disruptive force down the stretch in this matchup. Lucas trying to get off contact. It stays on the MSU Northern side. Playable. An attack by Stock that'll be blocked errantly by the Vikings. Lets a Stock from the right pin. Makes it 21-20. As we mentioned, the Vikings out of timeouts. Nothing that can be done to stop it. Montana State Northern looking to tie this up after the Vikings led by 7 early. Another attack by Hagler that misses wide. Do the Vikings have a timeout left? Yep, yeah, Michelle Mickeljohn was calling for timeout, but the official on the floor says that they've used them both, so no chance to call timeout. And now an unnecessary delay is going to be called against Annika Pulju of Valley City State for tying up a shoe. And conversation going on between J.C. Richter, the captain for the Vikings, that's on the floor right now, and Annika Pulju tying up a shoe. You get the yellow behind the watch. That's the unnecessary delay call, and it's not a violation. It's a warning, if nothing else. Emma Lucas attacking. That will score. And the Vikings are back up 1 at 22-21. So the Vikings go back up a point here in the third. Down 2-0 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. The Vikings need a set 3 victory to stay alive in the matchup. Molly Biernaby serving. Egan trying to get over for the pass. Got there. A lot of contact again from Lexi Jones. They're going to let that one go this time. Ball stays on the attack line. Egan off to the right. A tip coming in from Lexa Stock. Vikings cover. Frigian from the outside. A dive by Egan kept it afloat. Back near edge. Uffelman gets blocked. This will come back to the right pin. Stock trying to attack. Covered by Lucas. Frigian from the outside. Blocked, and it hits the sideline. That's a big block for Jones. Coming up right side with Lexa Stock. Closing off the outside for the Vikings. And the set is tied at 22. Emily Bird back into the matchup for Montana State Northern. Bird standing ready. Serve on the way. Pass from J.C. Richter. Set middle. And Danielle Hagler puts one away for the Vikings. 23-22. The Vikings take a 1-point lead late third. The Vikings down 2-0. Delaney Clark serving. The Vikings trying to stay alive in the matchup. Off the near side, Selman puts one away. The outside pin for Montana State Northern. And it's a race to 2 in a row here in the third. Believe they're going to have Selman with 12, maybe 13, hitting .478 on the day as Macy Selman. She's been an impact player for Montana State Northern. 23 each, it's a race to 2 in a row. Brooklyn Minden serving. Emma Lucas got there. A dump on second contact. Montana State Northern struggling to cover, they got it over. Phrygian was able to make a play. Now Phrygian defeats a block from the outside. Set point Vikings. The Vikings trying to force a fourth and stay alive in the matchup. Rosie Anderson steps onto the floor. Gracie Schumacher will serve. The go-ahead came a little late. Now Schumacher's ready. Serve on the way. Pass near the net, and they'll run deep to the right side. Selman going to get through and kill on the right pin. Lexi Jones went up, ran a really nice fake for Montana State Northern. And that left Selman open on the right pin to find a way to get through. It neutralized one of the blockers that were out there. We're tied at 24. We'll play into extra points now in the third set. Egan stepping back to serve for Montana State Northern. Delaney Clark turns into the pass. Back set right side for Phrygian. That one found the back line. Phrygian sliding out to the right pin. The Vikings back up one at 25-24. J.C. Richter stepping back to serve again for Valley City State. Egan handling it back row. Set back to the right side. Selman again through contact, gets through. They've got Selman now with 15 kills on the day, hitting .538, 14 assists to go with those 15 kills, and a couple of aces as well. Back to even, we're back to deuce, if you will, 25 apiece. Delaney Clark stepping into the pass. Up front, Frigi had to wait for the set. She was a bit further ahead of it than she wanted to be. Opens the door, but Northern can't jump through it. Egan sends over a free ball. Schumacher on second contact. That one passed back wide. The Vikings back up one at 26-25. Danielle Hagler back into the matchup, steps into the front row. Annika Pulju will serve for the Vikings. Passed up near the net, Selman setting, Wiggins will put it away. Wow. Macy Selman to Cadence Wiggins, they speed the game up. And that will tie things up at 26 apiece. When you have that in your wheelhouse, and we haven't really seen that play from Montana State Northern today, where they run the speed game. 26 each, we play on. Back to deuce again, Josie Hasler serving. Pass comes from Richter, Hagler attacking. Cover, Uffleman trying to go through the middle for Montana State Northern. Back to Rosie Anderson, tipping right pin. A deep push, Pulju got there. Set middle, Hagler paints the far sideline. Danielle Hagler puts one away for the Vikings. Another set point for Valley City State. They've had them all so far. At 24, 25, 26, and now 27. Madden Bogenreef serving. Pass up front, speed game a game. Wiggins is blocked. This will turn into a joust. Wiggins with the block will score it. Wiggins gets up to take one away from Courier and will play to 27 all. The Vikings denied on four opportunities to close out the set thus far. Tied again at 27. Got to be strong. It's all about earning side outs when you need them when you're in extra points like this. Annika Pulju steps into the pass. Hagler attacking again and scoring. Danielle Hagler makes it 28-27. The Vikings get another opportunity to end the set. Molly Burnaby back into the matchup to serve for the Vikings. Serve on the way. Egan comes up with a pass. Selman will set back to the near side. Uffleman having to wait. Here's a chance for the Vikings. To the middle, it's Hagler attacking. Mishit it. We're tied at 28. We'll play on again. This is going to bring Selman back to the front row now for Montana State Northern. So that's a big side out. Jones already back up there. Now Selman up there as well. This puts together a key part of the lineup for the Skylights. An attack from Hagler. Ball saved into the seats. Selman went over to get it. What a play. Pushed back over from the back row. Back set Hagler, right pin. Puts it down in the right corner. The Vikings another set point. Now at 29-28. This is excellent volleyball between these two teams right now. It doesn't get better than two teams going this deep into extra points. Serve from Delaney Clark. Uppelman the pass, wants it back. Right side attacks and scores in the back row. Macy Uppelman turns it away. Even at 29. The winner will go above 30 here in the third set. Brooklyn Minden will step back to serve for Montana State Northern. Minden service long, a service error. Despite all of these extra points, Northern has never had set point in the matchup. 7 opportunities to close out for Valley City State. The 7th now at 30-29. Serve coming from Gracie Schumacher. Set to the right pin. Selman sent it over. The Vikings send it out to Frigid. Passed back over the net in a free ball. Frigi wants it back in the middle. Tipping. Got it over. Jones was able to save it. And a run by Egan with one arm pushes it back. To the right pin for Rosie Anderson. Long. And that's going to tie it up at 30 apiece. There was a trip on the near side of the floor. One of the Northern Skylights went down, and the Vikings felt like they had committed the center line violation. We're tied at 30. We'll play on. Serve from Egan. Deep, but Delaney Clark chooses to play it. Right side, Frigid down. Off the right pin for Maisie Frigid. We talked about how big this match could be for the Vikings. All of these extra points could be for an opportunity to stay alive in the national conversation. 31-30, the Vikings leading again by 1. Richter serving, good hard serve down the middle of the floor. Near side, deep push, gonna score coming from Josie Hasler. Hasler read the back row undefended, pushes to the back row, even at 31. That was the 8th opportunity the Vikings had to turn away, or to terminate rather, a set. Line drive, serve, Courier makes the pass. Set back to her on the outside, long. A tip is going to be called at the net. Contact by Montana State Northern. 32-31, the Vikings back up one again. Annika Pulju back to serve for the Vikings. Serve on the way, Egan steps back to get to it. Up front, Wiggins put it away. Cadence Wiggins got the short game again, hammers it. Tied at 32. Remarkable, just an absolute remarkable finish to this third set. Serve coming from Josie Hasler. Hasler on the way, Pulju stepping back to make the pass. To the middle again, well, another attack for Hagler. Saved by Montana State Northern, into a block. Anderson and Hagler team up to shut off the outside pin. Another chance for the Vikings on set point. 33-32. Valley City State will have their 10th chance to finish this third set. Madden Bogenreef to serve. Pass taken by Egan. Selman gets over to set. Uppelman will have to tip to the middle. Here's the chance for the Vikings. Richter out to Courier, and it's dug up by Egan on the near side. Comes back to their outside. Uppelman tipping middle. Bogenreef covers. Back to the right. Emma Lucas attacking. Another dig out of the back row by Egan. Right pin. That one gets through and scores. The swing from Selman on the right side. And again, Montana State Northern turns it away. 33-33. Back to deuce again here in the third set. Serve on the way from Falls Down from Montana State Northern. Hagler dug up by Falls Down. And now to the outside, a tip coming in from Stock, trying to target the middle. Back to Courier for the Vikings, blocked. Kept alive by Madden Bogenreef. Lucas trying to get through traffic. falls down, dug it up. To the right, the attack from Stock, and that found the back corner. And for the first time in this third set, Montana State Northern now has set point. The momentum shifts. 34-33, it's match point for Montana State Northern Lights. Ball stays in the back row after an error on receive. Sent over free ball, and getting through traffic and scoring is Lexi Jones. Montana State Northern wins the final set 35-33 and will take home the match 3 sets to none. Your final score on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard this afternoon will be Montana State Northern 3, Valley City State University nothing, 25-22, 25-21, 35-33 in the final. Final numbers that we have for you today. 15 kills for Macy Selman leads the way for Montana State Northern. She hit 500. She had 6 digs and 18 assists to go with 15 kills. Macy Uppelman with 8 kills. Caden Swiggins with 8 for Montana State Northern as well. For the Vikings this afternoon, the Vikings hit 162 as a team. They'll be led by Danielle Hagler's 12, Morgan Frigi and Macy Frigin each with 11 this afternoon, and 7 for Emma Lucas here today as well. 20 assists for Madden Bogenreef, 26 for Gracie Schumacher here today. But the Vikings are beaten, and with the loss, the Vikings will fall to 9-12, 7-9 in conference play. Montana State Northern improves to 11-5 in the league and 13-9 overall. And that will do it for our coverage of Viking volleyball here this afternoon. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today in this matchup. Turns into a great one at the end. We saw some really impressive volleyball through about the last 20 rallies of that matchup when we were in extra points. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. But Montana State Northern takes it home today by a score of 3-0. Again, for those of you that are Vikings fans, on the radio side on KOVC, should be getting ready for Viking football as they get set to go up against Dakota State University today. That will be in Madison, South Dakota. We'll have that for you on the radio side, KOVC AM 1490, FM 96.3. They kick off at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you for joining us for Viking volleyball this afternoon. I'm Ryan Cunningham saying so long, everybody.